like for you to go back in your mind now and take this jury back to June 7th, 2021.
Yes, sir.
You were working there for the Murdaughs then?
Yes, sir.
That's a Monday. Do we all know that, June 7th?
Yes, sir.
When had you worked prior to that? At the Moselle property for them?
Friday.
And at that point, had you seen, what family members did you see at Moselle on Friday, which would have been the June 4th of 2021? Do you remember?
Paul.
And what was your interaction with Paul that day?
Paul walked through the door, his usual self. I was walking out of the laundry room, coming into the kitchen, and Paul came in the front door, and he was holding a laundry basket full of clothes. And as he was approaching me, he saw me, and he said, "What's up, Miss B?" And I just looked at him. I said, "Boy," I said, "if you got all them dirty clothes and you want me to take care of that," I said, "I'm getting ready to leave." He's like, "Oh, come on, Miss B, you can help me out." He said, "I need them for the weekend." I said, "Well, just pull a couple of them out, what you need, and I'll take care of it." And I ended up staying late to make sure that he had his clothing ready for the weekend.
So did you wash the clothes for the entire family? Was that part of your?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did Paul leave that Friday?
Yeah, I saw him leave. I don't know whether he was actually gone for the weekend or if he was still.
Did you ever see him again?
No, sir.
Did you have regular hours in June of 2021 that you worked at Moselle for the Murdaugh family?
They weren't really set hours. Maggie was pretty, she was just easygoing. If I had stuff to do, if I had stuff to take care of, she wasn't really too keen on any specific hours. So, you know, if I had a doctor's appointment or if I had anything, she'd be like, okay, no, her main comment to me always was no worries.
No worries.
No worries.
Well, June 7th specifically, were you scheduled to work at Moselle?
Yes, sir.
And did you have contact with Miss Maggie Murdaugh sometime prior to getting to Moselle that morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think it's in evidence, but tell these folks what contact you had with her.
She texted me and asked me if I could stop at the grocery store on my way to Moselle because Alex wanted some Capri Suns.
Wanted some what? Capri
Suns.
Okay.
And she said apple and I believe she said pineapple first, and then they changed. She came back with another text and said, no, he wants orange, I believe that's what he said. That's what the text said. I'm not.
And did you try to get some orange Capri Suns?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go?
I went to the Food Lion.
And were you successful in your search for orange Capri Suns?
No, sir.
I'll show you what's marked States 54, Ms. Blanca. Excuse me, Defendants 54 for the record. Did you have any other text with Miss Maggie before you got to Moselle?
Yes, Maggie told me she had to go to a doctor's appointment, and she said that in the text, Maggie said, Alec wants me to come home, and She said, and in a phone conversation, she told me, she said, I left some food in the refrigerator. Is there any way that you can cook? Paul likes the way you cook. So she said, because I don't think I'll be back in time. So I said, yeah, sure. I said, I'll do it. So it was nothing. I finished what I was doing, and then I started cooking, making sure the meal was ready for when Paul and they arrived at home. Well, that afternoon. And we had another conversation on the phone where she told me, she said, Alec wants me to come home. And she kind of sounded like she didn't want to come home. Because she really liked being at Edisto. And they had a lot of work that was going on, and she was trying to make sure everything was ready for the 4th of July gathering that she was planning. So she was very detail orientated, so she wanted everything perfect. So she was kind of, she sounded like she was a little disappointed. And then she said, well, Alec asked Paul to come home too, because he's got to fix the mess up out there that that CB had done.
That CB Road?
Yes, sir. And he said Alec had told Paul to come and fix it because they were planning on having a hunt that weekend, so he wanted everything ready and good to go.
So he'd asked Maggie to come, and then he had asked Alex to come.
That's what
Paul to come.
Paul, that's what Maggie told me over the phone.
And looking at Defendants 54, can you read that? Text.
He said, thank you. I'm waiting at doctor. Alex wants me to come home. I had to leave. Door open at Edisto, but trust Mexicans to shut and lock for me. His dad is back in the hospital. The last doctor claims not cancer, it's pneumonia. And then she's got some emojis. She said, Alec is about to die. Hope he doesn't go down there to sleep. Needs to take care of himself as well.
And when she said, I trust the Mexicans to leave the door open, that didn't bother you?
No, sir.
Okay. When she said, I guess my question is, you said you didn't think she wanted to...
Mr. Meadows, you're standing in front of the jurors.
I apologize. When you had just testified you didn't think she wanted to come home, was work being done at Edisto?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did she like being at Edisto?
Yes, sir, she did.
And when would she stay at Edisto?
Any chance she had.
Okay. Where was a time of year that she liked being there more than other times?
Yes, sir. Come around spring, summer. She preferred to be in Edisto.
And I guess, was she at Edisto the night, Sunday night, do you know? Where was she Sunday night?
I'm not sure.
All speculation, unless she knows.
She can answer if she knows.
I'm not sure.
All right, we have to squeeze in a quick break, but we will get you back inside of the courtroom there in Colleton County, South Carolina. Don't go anywhere. This is Court TV Live.
The life of Alex Murdaugh is bizarre. It is complicated.
This great South Carolina attorney is charged with the murders of his own wife and son.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Who exactly is this guy?
The evidence is going to show that he was there.
He is innocent.
Who knows where this thing is going to end?
This case needs to be resolved. We need to put this behind us and move on.
Murdaugh Family Murders. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
Right now.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are following the Murdaugh family murders case in South Carolina. And the housekeeper for that family on the stand saying that the wife, the one who would be murdered, one of her last texts to her housekeeper was that her husband, Alec, wanted her home, even though she really needed to be somewhere else. Let's take you back in where we left off.
When you got home that night, did anybody call you that night?
No.
When did you hear about the murder at Moselle of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh?
The next morning when I was getting ready to go out there.
The next morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you hear?
Alex called me.
And what did he tell you? He didn't call, he called you the next morning?
He called me early the next morning.
And what did he say to you?
He sounded shaky on the phone. You could tell he was, his voice sounded really shaky. He said, B, they're gone, they're gone. And my initial thought was, did she go back to Edison? That thought didn't cross my mind that he meant that they were dead at that time.
You just didn't comprehend what was going on?
No, sir, I did not. So he told me again, he said, no, B, they're dead. And at that point, I don't remember because I believe I dropped the phone, my husband got the phone. I don't remember after that.
You literally dropped the phone?
Yes.
And did your husband get on the phone?
I don't remember. I don't remember. All I remember is when he said that they were dead, I dropped the phone. And I believe I said, I'll be right over. I'll be right over.
Did he, the defendant Alex Murdaugh, tell you which way to go when you got to the house?
He said him and Buster were at Alameda, so I told him I was going to Alameda. You know, I wanted to make sure they were okay, and so I went from my house to Alameda. And then when I got ready to leave Alameda, he said, well, when you go to the house, go in the front because there's a lot of sled agents by the kennels. You can't go in that way. And he said, just try to straighten up the way Maggie liked everything, you know, in the house. He said, you knew her the best. He said, you know how she likes stuff. So I did. I went to the house.
So you went to
I went into Moselle from Alameda.
To start with?
Yes, I did, to check on my Buster and Alec.
To comfort them?
Yes, sir.
And at his request, you went to Moselle to start cleaning up and getting the house in order?
Yes, sir. He said there was going to be people probably stopping by and bringing food and stuff. He said, I just want the house to look the way Maggie would like for it to look. So I said, okay. And I went to the house.
Did you have a usual way that you went in to Moselle, entrance-wise?
From the house, I would, if I was coming from my house, I would come in on the, I call it the Miley's side. So I would actually enter the property through the kennels. And if I was coming from Hampton or if I, you know, in the other direction, then I would use the front entrance. But normally I use the kennel entrance coming from my house.
When you got to Moselle, we're now on the morning of June 8th, right, of 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see anybody in the property before you got to the main house?
No, sir.
And when you got to the main house, take us right there, Blanca, right now as you're walking in the house, what were your observations?
It was hard because I know she wasn't going to be coming back. And I didn't want to move her stuff. It was just a weird feeling going through when I unlocked the front door to get in. It felt cold.
You really cared for her, didn't you?
I did.
What'd you do when you got inside?
When I got inside, I didn't turn on any lights. I didn't do anything. I walked through the front door and I went in the kitchen. And I was kind of, when I looked in the kitchen, I kind of just stopped in my tracks and I looked at the stove, and I was kind of, I don't know what the word is. When I looked and I noticed the stove, that there was no pots on the stove, it was kind of unusual, because usually when they ate dinner the night before, the pots usually stayed on the stove. Very, very seldom would she put, certain meals in the refrigerator. A lot of times it was just left on the stove until the next day. And the pots were not in the sink, and they were not on the stove. And then as I walked through, if you walk through the kitchen, like you're going to, from the kitchen, if you walk through the kitchen, if you go to the left, there's two freezer and a refrigerator, and the laundry room sat right there to the left. There's a back door to the back porch, and then there's the laundry room door. They're both right there. And as I turned to go to the laundry room, I noticed that her pajamas were in the middle of the doorway, right in the middle, laid neatly in the middle of the doorway going into the laundry room. It was her pajama pants, a pair of underwear, and her pajama top.
Was that unusual?
That was very unusual.
Wow.
Because she wouldn't lay her clothes out like that, not in the middle of the door like that. It just didn't look right to me.
And you took care of the house?
Yes.
You took care of the clothes?
Yes.
And not to get too personal, but sometimes you can't help it. Were the underwear there with the pajamas unusual?
Yes.
Why?
She didn't wear underwear with her pajamas.
No underwear with pajamas. But that struck you.
No underclothes with the pajamas.
But that struck you as unusual. They were there with the pajamas.
Yes, sir, because the underwear appeared to be clean, not dirty. They still had like fold marks.
And the pots, and I may have just missed it. You said, where would the pots end up when you found them?
After I looked at the pajamas on the floor, the way that they were set, I turned around and I said, well, I wonder where the pots are. So I opened the refrigerator door, and the pots were sitting inside the refrigerator with lids on them. And I was like, who did this? I don't know at that point, but that was not normal for the whole pot to be sitting in the fridge.
Did you make any other observations in the house, the bathroom, or anywhere else?
In the master bathroom was her clothes were sitting next to the tub. It was a small pile of clothes right there next to the tub, and by the shower. If you walk in the master bedroom, there's a big garden tub, spa type tub. And then right here is the shower, and there's a window. On the floor next to the shower was a slight puddle of water, a towel, and a pair of khaki pants. And then as I went to the left to see if there was anything else that was out, I looked in the closet, and in the closet was a white damp towel on the floor, and there was and I'm pretty sure the T-shirt was white at one time, but you know, they get kind of dingy after a few years. But that it appeared that a T-shirt had fallen off of the stack of T-shirts that were on top of the shelf right there in the closet. It was laying on the floor next to the towel.
When you took care of the home, was that, tell us how the clothes were laid out, the shirts, the shorts, were you saying up on a shelf, or shirts?
In the closet, there was a shelf. There was some shelves, smaller shelves right here, and then there was some long ones. Maggie used to keep her clothes on these. And then there was a shorter one, kind of like little box-looking, you know. Alex used to keep his clothes, his belts and stuff in that. And then on top, there was also an area where he kept T-shirts. They were folded, and they were kept on the shelf.
When you say T-shirts, I know what a T-shirt is, but I mean, were they T-shirts like I'm wearing right now? Were they T-shirts with pockets?
It was usually, they would be T-shirts, like if they would go, like when you go to a restaurant and they have like the logo of those type of T-shirts. He had a big collection of those.
And would you put them on the shelf?
The Murdaugh housekeeper there talking about what she noticed that was strange inside of the house that she cared for on a regular basis. We have to fit in a break, but we will get you right back inside of that Colleton County, South Carolina courtroom when we return. Don't go anywhere.
Someone they knew is back.
I mean, you talk about high stakes, right?
With a brand new season.
They seemed happy.
Someone They Knew with Tamron Hall. New season premieres February 19th.
Only on Court TV.
A Wisconsin woman accused of killing her friend with eye drops.
Was the victim trying to commit suicide?
Or was she murdered for money?
The Eye Drops murder trial. Live coverage coming soon on Court TV.
15% off your purchase.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Testimony is continuing inside of that Colleton County Courthouse in South Carolina in the case against Alex Murdaugh. His housekeeper is on the stand testifying about things that she saw around their house the day after the murder that she says just didn't add up, didn't seem to be how the wife, the at that point slain wife, would have kept things. Let's get you back inside of that courtroom.
And would you put them on the shelf?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you iron T-shirts?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you washed all the clothes?
Yes, I did.
Did he have a certain place that he kept shorts versus long pants?
Yes, sir. When you walk in the master bedroom, when you enter the master bedroom, the bed was right here. At the foot of the bed, you had a dresser here and a dresser here. The right dresser on the top drawers were usually his underwear, his socks. The next drawer was his T-shirts. On the bottom drawer were the pajama pants that he would wear or his shorts that he would wear to sleep in. In the left drawer, and one sits on this side of the door going into the bathroom, and the other one's right here. On the left dresser, he kept his white T-shirts that he would wear under when he wore a suit. He would wear, the T-shirts were in one of those drawers. And then the other two drawers were shorts, the dressier shorts, and then the not so dressier shorts. You know that.
So you testified a shirt looked like it had fallen when you saw it this morning?
Yes, sir.
June 8th, 2021, okay. Was it still clean?
Yes, sir.
Did you put it back?
Yes, sir.
My boss, Don Zelenka, just reminded me that the food that you cooked, did you look and see how much was eaten in the pots?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Now, you said there was a damp towel. Where was that?
In the closet, on the floor.
And I know what damp means, but when you touched it, did it feel?
It was damp.
Okay. What did you do with it?
Took it to the laundry room.
And you said there were some pants there.
Yeah, so there's a pair of khakis by the shower.
And what'd you do with those?
Took them to the laundry room.
Did you wash them?
Yes, sir.
Can we go to the...
Ladies and gentlemen, let's stand for a moment.
All right, a stretch break there inside of the courthouse, something they do often, which seems to be really good for keeping things moving along. Let's talk about what we've seen so far from this housekeeper. I still have with me Dr. Yalda Safai here in studio, medical doctor, forensic psychiatrist, incredible resume you have. Tell me what's standing out to you the most about this pretty compelling witness on the stand, Blanca Simpson.
Yes, of course. I think she is the perfect person to be testifying in this case. This is a person who lived with a defendant for years. I saw the ins and outs of his life, his interaction with his spouse, his interaction with his kids. So I think she will be the best one to do a character testimonial, basically. Was there any warning signs inside the house? Was he ever violent? Did she ever fear for her safety or anybody else's? I'm surprised that they haven't been asking her these questions yet. I know that she talks a lot about what happened immediately the day after and her suspicions about things not adding up. But I think it's really important in this case to talk to her, ask her about how life has been working with this man for years. I think it will give everybody in the jury a better understanding of the character of this person.
Yeah, more incidents they could possibly bring out. They can't get directly into his character, but of course we see through other witnesses that they're able to ask them, how did he act? What did his demeanor seem like? Everything that we've heard from her so far, though, points to Alex Murdaugh being a good boss.
Exactly, which is really interesting because usually in cases like this, there are warning signs. Usually there's a history of violence. Usually there's domestic abuse situations. So it's really, really interesting that he is being squeaky clean, at least inside the home, and then one day decided to murder his wife and kids. I mean, it's very interesting. And it's not the usual norm. There's usually warning signs.
And speaking of signs, let's take a listen back to some of her testimony where she mentions something that she noticed that was a red flag.
When I got inside, I didn't turn on any lights. I didn't do anything. I walked through the front door and I went in the kitchen. And I was kind of, when I looked in the kitchen, I kind of just stopped in my tracks and I looked at the stove, and I was kind of, I don't know what the word is. When I looked and I noticed the stove, that there was no pots on the stove, it was kind of unusual because usually when they ate dinner, the night before, the pots usually stayed on the stove. Very, very seldom would she put, certain meals in the refrigerator. A lot of times it was just left on the stove until the next day. And the pots were not in the sink and they were not on the stove.
I didn't notice that before. Alex Murdaugh seeming to have some questions for his attorney during that portion of the testimony. We don't know what the prosecution is trying to allege that means. They may tell us in closing arguments, but there's something that I know that is going to be important for them, and a problem for the defense is that text message where Maggie sent a message to the housekeeper saying, Alex wants me to come home. And this was during a time that she was planning to go to their other home. They had a vacation home in Edison that she was taking care of. Things were getting changed in it. She wanted to be over seems like renovations there. just real quick, we only have about 30 seconds left, but how problematic do you think that's going to be for the case?
I think it's very problematic. As a jury hearing this defendant wanted to lure the victim to the home. That's what they're seeing. That's what they're hearing. Now, there could have been another reason why he did that, but that is what they're going to hear.
That is what they are hearing, and they're going to hear a lot more of it. Dr. Safai, thank you so much for being in studio. It's been great talking with you, getting your analysis on this. Don't go anywhere. After this break, Ted Rollins is up next here on the desk, and we'll continue that live testimony inside of that South Carolina courtroom. You are watching Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.
Top there. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins. Glad to have you along with us. Alex Murdaugh's alleged financial crimes took a front seat again this morning as we're nearing the end of the second week of testimony. Prosecutors have been laying out evidence of the financial house of cards that was poised to fall at any moment and saying that that was motive to kill his wife and his son, Paul. The jury is just walking back in. It's a live look inside the courtroom. When we went to break, they were on a mid-morning break. The jury's now making their way back into the courtroom, and on the stand is Blanca Simpson, the longtime friend of the family, housekeeper, interpreter, someone who knew the Murdaughs quite well. Yalda Safai has been watching along with us all morning. And hey, y'all, help me out here. I'm trying to get my head around why does it matter if things were in disarray or different when she came into the house with the pots and the pans and the clothes and all that.
I mean, you got to think about it this way. This is a woman that's been coming into this home every single day. So if she notices anything out of the ordinary, it's going to cause an alarm for her. I think that this, you know, if this didn't happen on that day, those pots and pans might have meant nothing to her in the grand scheme of things. But because something went so wrong that day, a murder went on, she's now noticing little things that she might have thought were misplaced or not usual. Now, the thing is, expert testimony is not always accurate. People don't always remember the little details of a crime scene. So we can take this pots and pans and things being in disarray, we can take it with a grain of salt, because it's not always, you don't always remember in little minute details exactly what you saw.
Right. When cross-examination begins here, we're going to likely see an extension of what she's actually already done, and that is bring out the good character of the defendant and the family in general.
That is what I've been waiting for. So again, this is a woman that has been in this home for years. She's been working in this home for years. I'm waiting for her to start talking about his character. You know, was this a violent man? Did he, was there a DV situation before in the home? Because these are all warning signs that she would have seen before, right? And in a case like his, usually people are not squeaky clean and then snap one day and commit a crime. There's usually warning signs. So I'm just waiting for her to start talking about his character.
We haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
This whole trial.
Exactly.
So we'll sit back and watch, and let's see this transpire. The judge is back on the bench, and it looks like the jury's made it into the courtroom. Let's go back on the record.
Yeah, Mr. Waters, if you all be seated.
Ms. Simpson.
Yes, sir.
I think where we left off, let me kind of try to refocus myself. I'm going to show you what's entered as State 7. Just, can you see those pants in State 7?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recognize those pants?
I hear your response.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You recognize those pants in State 7?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how do you know those? How do you recognize them?
I took care of the laundry.
Have you cleaned them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where were these pants kept in State 7?
The left dresser and the third drawer, third or fourth drawer.
You know
they weren't in the ones where he had one drawer with shorts that he would usually wear on the weekends. You know, the dressier ones. Those were kept in the drawer underneath that specific drawer.
So you know what drawers these were in?
Yes.
If you know from being there and taking care of the clothes and taking care of the family, were these his shorts he liked to wear a lot or not? Did you see him in these shorts much?
No.
Okay. And were these shorts clean the last time you saw them?
Yes.
Okay. Now this shirt that's also in States 7, had you seen that shirt before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where was this shirt kept in the closet at Moselle?
The top shelf above where his clothes hang, the top shelf. There was a shelf up there.
And you've testified it looked like a shirt had fallen from that shelf when you got there on the morning of June 8th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was this shirt kept in that same place as the shirt that had fallen?
Yes, sir.
And the shirt that had fallen, what did you do with it after you picked it up?
I folded it back up and I placed it back on the shelf.
Was it clean?
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
I understand that you all are apparently having a personal conversation, but you need to speak into the mic.
Yes, sir.
All right, look at me this way. I'm sorry. Had you cleaned this shirt that's in State 7 prior to June 7th of 2021?
I probably did.
And where would it have been placed after you cleaned it? Where would you have put it?
Up in the closet if there was no more room in the drawer.
Now, could we please play States 306, please? Can you see, would you look right there at your monitor? As they're fixing that, when Mr. Okay, freeze it right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this, who's in the picture?
Alex.
Okay. And can you tell what kind of pants he's got on?
Khaki pants.
Okay. Can you tell what kind of shoes he's got on from that, Miss Simpson?
It appears to be a pair of loafers.
Loafers?
Mm-hmm. House shoes, loafers.
Okay, well, tell me what you mean by house shoes.
Just his shoes that he would usually wear around the house if he was wearing shoes. Mm-hmm.
So would he usually just wear them inside?
Yes, sir.
But these appear to be those shoes.
It appears to be, yes.
And this shirt that Alex Murdaugh is wearing on June 7th, depicted in States 306, had you seen that shirt prior to June 7th?
It was in the closet.
Okay. And what type of shirt is that?
The Columbia shirt.
Columbia shirt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many of those type shirts did he have?
He had a few in the closet.
And what color is that shirt?
Just like a greenish aqua seafoam color.
Why do you keep using the term seafoam? I'm not fussing, I'm just asking.
The term seafoam, when Maggie was looking at different color palettes to paint, that color came up in one of the color palettes. So we would refer to it as a seafoam. But that's the term that was used for that color in one of the color palettes that she had.
After June 7th of 2021, did you ever see that shirt again?
No, sir. There was like a pink one, a white one, a baby blue in the closet. I do not remember that shirt being in there.
And on June 8th of 2021, in the morning hours when you came back over there, was that shirt there?
No, sir.
Were these shoes that you called house slippers, were those there?
No, sir.
Did you ever see those house shoes again?
No, sir.
And where did he usually keep them?
In the closet.
Did he have any other type shoes? Canvas or any kind of boat shoes?
He had a lot of shoes in the closet.
Do you remember any shoes that were canvas type shoes?
The boat shoes, like the Sperry?
Sperry shoes?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember those?
Yes, sir. They used to sit in the closet.
They used to sit in the closet. After June 7th of 2021, did you ever see the Sperry boat shoes again?
No, sir. I do not recall seeing them in the closet.
Never, ever?
No, sir.
Did you stay on and work for a period of time for Alex Murdaugh at the Moselle?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did your day-to-day functions change after June 7th as far as Moselle itself?
Yes, sir, they did.
Well, tell them how that happened and what the change was. After Maggie and Paul were killed, Alec did not stay on the property. On the 10th, when I believe his father passed away, after the Murdaugh.
Yes, I believe after the service that we had for him at the cemetery, Alec called and asked if my husband and I would stay on the property because him and Buster were not going to be able to stay there. So we agreed to take care of the property and maintain it while he said until he decides what he's going to do with it.
And did, in fact, you and your husband start residing there for a period of time?
We did.
And what, were you paid for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, do you mind telling them how much?
He would give me $1,500 a week to make sure that anything needed for the farm was taken care of, and my husband and I would maintain cutting the grass on that property, which is a lot of grass out there, and it would take in excess of 2 days to cut.
Would you cut it?
Yes, sir. I would help my husband.
Were you also taking care of the dogs?
Yes, sir.
Tell these folks, what were the dogs' names?
Grady and Bubba.
Grady and Bubba.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You fed them?
Yes, sir.
Took care of them?
Yes, sir.
Where is Bubba? What's today? Whatever today is, where's Bubba today?
He's with me.
So you have Bubba in your home?
Yes, sir, I do.
Did Bubba have his own pen?
Yes, he did.
And I don't know if you've seen, but could at some point, and I'll keep going to the video of, well, could we play that now, please, so we can get it to the video, the kennel video, please? What is it? And before we get there, when, and I'm sorry, I'm going back to this real quick. Is that the shirt he left for the office in that day?
No, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. Had you ever seen Bubba with an animal in his mouth?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell him about that, please, ladies and gentlemen.
When Bubba was running around, if I or anybody, if the chickens were running out of the coop, he would chase the chickens and he would just go after the chickens or the guineas, whatever was out there.
And would you ever catch him?
Yes, he would.
All right. And how would Bubba, the chicken, get out of Bubba's mouth? And
You have to make several attempts to get the chicken out of his mouth, and at points he would growl at you if you tried to take his toy. Basically, that's what he...
in your experience in being there, was it easier for a family member or somebody Bubba knew to get the chicken out?
If he's stubborn.
I'm talking about Bubba.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But would it take a period of time to get the chicken out of Bubba's mouth?
Yes, it would.
Okay. That's all right.
Okay, while they get set to play that, we'll get a break, get you back into the courtroom right after this. Stay with us.
The life of Alex Murdaugh is bizarre. It is complicated.
This great South Carolina attorney is charged with the murders of his own wife and son.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Who exactly is this guy?
The evidence is going to show that he was there.
He is innocent.
Who knows where this thing is going to end?
This case needs to be resolved. We need to put this behind us and move on.
Murdaugh Family Murders. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
Get a quote at ethoslife.com.
All right, let's get you back into the courtroom. Blanca Simpson still on direct examination.
I will show you what's marked 455, 457 for ID only. Do you recognize these, and do they relate to your testimony without saying what they are?
Yes.
Okay. On September 4th of 2021, did you have a conversation with defendant Alex Murdaugh?
I did.
Okay. And what did he ask you to do?
He asked me to send him copies, send him a photo of the insurance cards.
And do you know what day of the week that was? And I'll go back here so you can talk. I'm sorry.
I don't remember the day. All I know was it's on my phone.
He asked you to send him a copy of his medical card?
Oh, it was on a Saturday morning because the next day was my daughter's birthday. That early that morning when he called me, he asked me when I sent him the picture of the plastic insurance card, he said, no, I need the cardboard one. Well, the cardboard one was in Maggie's purse. It wasn't in the area where I usually kept the cards in the cabinet. So I told him, I said, it's in Maggie's purse. He said, well, go ahead and get the cards and send me a picture of them. And I asked him if he was okay, and he said, well, I'm just getting some routine exams done, he said, and I need the number so I could go ahead and schedule these appointments. And it was a Saturday because I was thinking, where's he gonna go to get appointments done on a Saturday? But I didn't say anything. I went and I took pictures and I sent him all the copies of the cards that I found.
Your Honor, we'd offer stage 455, 457.
First of all, he consulted with me about this as he walked up to me a moment ago. I don't quite understand the relevance. Why him asking for, you want to tell me?
Talking to him, I'm not.
I'm sorry, if he would just consult with me for a moment and tell me what the relevance is, but he hadn't told me.
With your permission?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Your Honor, we sort of just talked.
Surprised.
I think with that's 455, 457 without objection.
Reserving our previously made objections, I apologize.
What previous objection?
Sorry, Your Honor.
What previous objection? You said reserving your previous objection.
I apologize. I'm just so used to saying that. I apologize. had no previous made objection to this document concerning this issue. I apologize.
Made it without objection. There you are.
455, I'll stand right here, okay? Were you texting with Alex Murdaugh about sending these cards?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And that's the text, and is that his medical card you sent him a picture of?
One of the medical cards I sent him a picture of, yes.
Please listen to me carefully and don't go any farther than my answer ask, okay?
Yes, sir.
After this date, September 4th of 2021, did you and your husband quit living at Moselle?
We did.
A couple other questions, and I know everybody will be glad I'm sitting down. In addition to cleaning the house, did you ever look at Maggie's Mercedes to try to clean it afterwards?
I did.
What, if anything, did you find?
As I was cleaning the vehicle, removing her,
I would object unless she gives a date, or at least a range of dates.
Do you remember when that was?
that was about a week after.
Okay. After the murders? When did you, do you remember when you cleaned her car?
I cleaned the car when they asked me to pick it up from the impound sheriff's department.
And who asked you to pick it up?
Randy and his wife had dropped off Paul's truck, and they were getting ready to leave to go out of town. So he asked if my husband and I could go pick up the Mercedes from the impound and bring it back to the house.
And did you clean it after that?
I did.
And what did you find, if anything?
Well, she still had paint for the Edisto house that she was trying to touch up some areas at the house, and she had some pillows that she was gonna return. And as I moved the seat to clean, to vacuum underneath the driver's side seat, I found her ring.
Or what?
Her ring. Her wedding band.
Now, did Maggie, based on your time with her and experience, like being at Moselle by herself?
No.
And leading up to the murders, was she anxious about anything?
She had a conversation with me. She had a conversation with me a few months prior. I walked in the house, and Maggie said, "Hey, Blanca," she said, "I got to talk to you. I got something to tell you." And so she said, "Let me make some coffee." And she went and made a pot of coffee. She made me a cup. She made herself a cup, and we went. She said, "Let's go talk." And we went into the hunting room, and she closed the door because Alec was sleeping in the bedroom, which is on the other side of the house, but she closed the door. When Maggie closed the door,
You're said.
Response?
Judge, I think, was she anxious about money issues?
Your Honor, I object to...
Well, I know you objected, and
But he is...
I understand your objection.
Judge, I'm not...
Well, I don't care what you're doing. There's an objection to the previous question. The objection is sustained. While entertaining the objection, you cannot pose another question. The objection is sustained.
And I apologize.
Yes, sir. Make your seat.
Your Honor, I hesitate, but this is a matter that needs to be put on the record.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have you go to the jury room. Please not discuss the case.
Oh, Dick Arputian's mad. I think Judge Newman's mad, too. Let's see, he's sending the jury out, obviously. We'll see how this works out. Dick Arputian has been pretty tame, maybe more so than we thought going into this trial, because in the pretrial hearings, he was animated, a character. And a little bit of that just came out. Let's listen in as they argue in front of the judge.
Yes, sir. If everyone will be seated. Yes.
I objected to a conversation. We're aware of that conversation, but I objected knowing where he was going, which was, and in that same interview, by the way, that she gave about a statement where Maggie said that she was concerned about money, she also indicated Maggie was never concerned about money. Either way, it's hearsay. He said before Your Honor ruled, was she concerned about money or wasn't she concerned about money? He testified, which is to hearsay. I would move for mistrial. I think it's unduly prejudicial based on the last 3 weeks we've heard of financial misconduct on part of the defendant. I would move for mistrial. I would move that it's not mistrial because I don't think, even if you give this jury an instruction, you can't unring the bell. You can't correct that. And now I've had to draw attention to it, even more so by objecting to it. He knew that was wrong. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Meadows.
Your Honor, and for the record, I apologize for that question. I don't have to say it. I'm
Well,
sorry.
we're not here about apologies. Go ahead.
And I can't help it.
Yes, sir.
Judge, under 803, and what I should have brought to the court's attention first, 803.3, we think this would be admissible hearsay exception, then existing mental, emotional, or physical condition. The statement of the declarant's then existing state of mind, emotion, sensation, or physical condition. We think it fits under that rule, how she was, and that's all I was going to elicit. That's it. I wasn't going, and hearsay was coming out a little bit there. A lot of hearsays come out in this trial. They wasn't objected, it just was rolling. I wasn't trying to plan that part ahead. But I do think respectfully it comes in under 803. We'd like you to consider under 803.3, Judge. And that's what I should have said before I asked the question. Again, for the record, say I'm sorry.
803.3, the following are not excluded by the hearsay rule, even though the declarant is available as a witness. A statement of the declarant's then existing state of mind, emotion, sensation, or physical condition, such as intent, plan, motive, design, mental feelings, pain, and bodily health, but not including a statement of memory or belief to prove the fact remembered or believed, unless it relates to the execution, revocation, identification, or terms of declarant's will. All right, Mr. Harpootlian?
Obviously, Your Honor, I don't think that's covered by 803.
Why not?
Well, because it's the declarant. And maybe we need to ask her exactly what she said before we rule on that. The only testimony we've heard on that point is his.
We heard a question, then an objection, and then another question while the court was listening to your objection.
Yes, sir.
So we'll have a proffer of this testimony and see where it's going.
Was Maggie Murdaugh anxious of anything in the days leading up to the murder that she expressed to you?
Yes, sir.
Please tell the judge what it was.
She was worried because a lawsuit had been presented stating that they wanted $30 million. Maggie was crying. Maggie said, we don't have that kind of money, Blanca. And that's what she used to call me. She said, we don't have that. She said, if I could give them everything that I got and make this go away, she said, I would do it in a heartbeat. She said, I'll start over. We'll start over. She said, I just want it gone.
Just while we're listening to a proffer, go ahead.
Would that be instead of that long, would that be like money issues that she was worried about?
The money issues dealing with the lawsuit.
And Your Honor, that's all I was going to offer her. I asked for money issues. I wasn't looking to even go in detail on what she said there, that long colloquy.
Yes, sir.
I don't quite understand how this fits into, first, what you allowed in under 403, 404, the and raised gestae. Right. It is her perception that the lawsuit for $30 million, putting financial stress on her. There's not any, she's not relating that Alex has any stress on him. He's the one on trial. Her perception that the $30 million is making her, was concerning her. I mean, she's not accused, that is Maggie Murdaugh is not the defendant here. There's no connecting it to the defendant. I don't understand what, I mean, not only is it hearsay, it's not relevant to the issues being litigated here. Her state of mind on financial issues, I don't know how that relates.
Anything further?
No, sir.
We've had testimony elicited by the defense throughout the trial from witnesses portraying the family as a loving and happy marriage. Question posed to Mr. Gibson, I believe it was, and to the other friend of Paul's and Buster's, as to whether the family was anxious or seemed to have any concerns or issues going on at the time. And I find that this testimony properly responds to that testimony, and the objection is overruled. Anything else?
Okay, let's get a break in here. The judge sides with the state. Jury coming back in. We'll watch it together after this.
The life of Alex Murdaugh is bizarre.
The disgraced South Carolina attorney is charged with the murders of his own wife and son.
The evidence is going to show that he was there.
He is innocent.
Murdaugh family murders. Today, only on Court.
You'll be satisfied.
Denying the objection, the motion for mistrial is also, motion is denied. You bring the jury back.
All right, welcome back to Court TV Live. You heard Dick Harpootlian ask for a mistrial, and then right there, while we were at break, the judge said no to that, and they've brought the jury back in. Let's go back in live. Blanca Simpson still on the stand, and now it's the end of her direct.
Do you withdraw the question that you posed prior to the court's ruling on the objection?
No, sir.
Or you forgot the question?
To the world, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
All right, proceed.
What was she anxious about?
She said she knew the amount of money that they were asking, but she felt that Alec was not being truthful to her with regard to what exactly was going on with that lawsuit. She said, he doesn't tell me everything.
I'll show you what's marked states 297. Excuse me, entered as 297.
Get back. Quit, Cash. Quit. It's okay. Cash. Hey, he's got burgers now. Barbara. Hey, Bubba. It's a guinea. This is a chicken. Come here, Bubba. Come here, Cash. Come here, Bubba. Cash. Quit.
Ms. Blanca, had you seen that before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think maybe in prior statements or something that, had you said, do you recognize voices on there?
Yes, sir.
Who do you recognize?
It's Paul, Maggie, Alec.
And if previously, have you said in a memo or a memorandum in interviews that you thought you may have heard another voice?
Yes, sir, I did. at a distance.
But having listened to it again, have you listened to it this week? I mean, it's not on TV. Have you seen it?
I have. There's only 3 voices, Alex, Maggie, and Paul.
So after hearing it several times, is that your conclusion?
Yes, sir.
Just a few more questions.
Yes, sir.
Would Miss Maggie Murdaugh, did she go down to the kennels at night by herself?
No, sir.
Okay. And you say that emphatically. Why, do you know that?
She was scared.
Okay.
It got dark out there.
Okay. So would she go down there by herself?
No.
Did she like to go down there when it wasn't dark?
She did.
And did she like playing with the dogs?
She always took the dogs with her.
Which dogs were hers?
Grady and Bubba were always with her.
Okay. So when she was at Edisto, where would Grady and Bubba be?
Sometimes she would take both of them, but the majority of the time, in the last few months, she was alternating. She would take one or if not the other.